Howdy folks, hope you all had a great weekend and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles, once again sponsored by NordPass. And this sponsorship comes at a hilariously appropriate moment where a couple of major corporations are probably wishing that they'd gotten a 2-year NordPass premium plan plus an additional month for free, all risk-free with NordPass's 30-day money-back guarantee by heading to nordpass.com/jingles and using code JINGLES to get this deal. Because it's just been revealed that an extortion group going by the name of Ransom House has managed to acquire more than 450 gigabytes of sensitive data from chip manufacturer AMD. And they were able to do it because, and I am not making this up, it's 2022 and major corporations are still using password as their password. Yep, chip manufacturer AMD just posted revenue for the first quarter of 2022 amounting to $5.9 billion. But somehow they don't have enough spare change to head over to nordpass.com/jingles and use code JINGLES in order to get themselves a great deal on a 2-year NordPass premium plan. Seriously, password was their password. Oh, that's fantastic. Honestly, you couldn't make this stuff up. What a bunch of noobs. Yeah, she's laughing because I just told her we're going to cut to this from the sponsored segment where AMD, multi-billion-dollar tech giant, got hacked because password was their password. Jesus. Yep. Should have used my sponsorship to get the password manager. Cheap bastards. Right, yeah, so welcome. Rita, back from the USA. Juicy, the ginger chonk. It's really warm in here. It is. It's only 19 degrees outside, and I know that, like, you know, all you Texans and Australians are like, 19 degrees, it's 40 degrees. Well, it isn't 40 degrees in the shade in Australia. It's winter in Australia at the minute. But you've just come from Texas, haven't you? Yeah.
40 degrees Celsius.
And you've had 40-degree temperatures, yeah. And it's not as bad as this, is it?
Oh no, I was going for daily walks every single day. I felt gorgeous afterwards, ready to slay another day.
Yeah, because it's 19 degrees out there, it's 28.5 degrees in here with 75% humidity, and that's what makes the difference.
23 degrees Celsius here feel like Satan's armpit.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
Because it's just so hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
Oh, do you like the new shirt, by the way?
I do not know this man.
My taco shirt.
Taco, I can't.
I saw this on Amazon, or maybe Instagram, and I had to get it. Probably Instagram, because I'm always looking at cat videos on Instagram, and they have an algorithm that actually works on Instagram. They feed me stuff that I do actually like to watch.
Interesting.
Unlike YouTube. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. My YouTube recommendations are just unbelievable. I've never watched a Minecraft video in my life, but apparently they just keep recommending. I made Valorant in Minecraft videos. Just Minecraft videos, Korean and Japanese boy band and K-pop music videos. This is all my recommendations are now.
But do you watch videos regularly on YouTube?
Every day.
Okay.
When I'm usually in bed by 7 or 8 p.m. and then I spend 2 hours just browsing YouTube on my phone. And up until about a month ago, YouTube was feeding me like modelling videos, people building tanks and aircraft and oil weathering techniques and all that sort of thing. World of Warships videos, World of Tanks videos. I watch quite a bit of the Awesome Epic guys, and then documentary videos. I watch a lot of.
Are those the cucumber guys?
The cucumber guys.
The Awesome Epic.
Awesome Epic guys, yeah.
Don't they do tanks?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the cucumber guys.
Okay.
That's how I remember them.
Whatever works for you, Rita.
It's a thing with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd get like stuff from channels like Wendover Productions, Half as Interesting, Dark Skies, documentary videos. Now it's all pop videos from Japanese and Korean boy bands, Minecraft videos. I mean, because we're talking about how everybody uses ad blockers, and this is why it's so hard to make a living on YouTube now. And I don't, by the way, if you use an ad blocker, I don't blame you. Yeah. because like a year ago, YouTube just quadrupled the number of ads that they were running all of a sudden. And almost exactly at the same time, they suddenly started pushing the YouTube premium ad-free experience.
Yeah.
And I lasted about a month and then just gave up.
It's been a little bit of the same on the Twitch side.
Yeah, Twitch is heavily pushing the monetization now as well.
Yeah, the last couple months I get regular notifications from Twitch to turn on automated ads.
Yeah.
And they always say for reliable income.
Yeah.
And I've said, you know what's reliable? Not take advantage of my viewers.
Yeah.
And only play ads whenever there's actual no content happening.
Yeah.
That's what is reliable income to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was on Twitch yesterday and I was watching, it might have been Angel Plays, it might have been Flamu, it might have been Mr. Gibbons. And right in the middle of the battle, like just as things were getting interesting, it suddenly ran 5 adverts.
Yeah.
Like, what? And YouTube's been like that for over a year now. I mean, there were channels that I used to watch every time they put a video up, Corridor Digital, for example. And you're seeing a lot of these really big YouTube channels, and like they're still publishing on YouTube, but you get an advert every 3 minutes unless you have YouTube Premium, or you use an ad blocker, and they're not really using YouTube as their primary source of income anymore. They've now got their own websites, like Corridor Digital, for example, an LA-based visual effects group. Did some amazing videos. Do you remember Medal of Honor Cat?
Yes.
People like Freddie Wong,
Yeah.
all these guys, Corridor Digital, Freddie Wong, used to be able to, I don't know, have one skippable ad. You'd have to watch the first 15 seconds and then you could skip the rest and just watch the video. And now that 5-minute video will have 2 ad breaks in it. So they're moving to having their own websites where you can subscribe, corridordigital.com for example, and you can see all of their videos ad-free, obviously because you're paying a subscription fee, and they put bonus content on there. Like the videos are longer because they cut stuff out for YouTube, and they're just now using YouTube not as a primary source of income, but to advertise their own website. Viva La Dirt League are doing the same thing.
And the thing is, when you are in a different platform from YouTube, you also don't have to worry about the things you cannot say.
Yes. I mean, you can say whatever you like on YouTube, but then, you're going to get your video age restricted.
Yeah.
Like some of my cyberpunk
I wasn't
videos.
even like going as far as saying the word F too many times, or like cursing or anything like that. I was mentioning.
Oh, talking about topics that YouTube doesn't like, you mean?
Yeah, like the Johnny Depp and a certain Aquaman starlet.
Yes.
Say her name. Case and so
Actually,
forth.
speaking of which, for years, right, there's a Nicolas Cage movie that I have never seen.
All right.
Because I cannot stand Nicolas Cage. It's called Drive Angry.
All right.
And for years, I'm just picturing the movie poster for it, where it's got Nicolas Cage and this smoking hot blonde sitting next to each other in the driver's seat of a car. And for years, every time that movie poster came up, I thought, wow, And I just found out like 3-4 days ago, that's Amber Heard. And now I feel dirty.
But the thing is, she was actually rated as one of the most beautiful women in the world in terms of measurements on her face.
No.
But
She is like really, really pretty, but she's a psychopath.
Yeah. Something's clearly wrong with her.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, ad blockers. Yeah. If you use an ad blocker on YouTube, which is what I probably should have done instead of paying for a YouTube Premium subscription, I absolutely cannot blame you. But you have to understand that ad blockers, because of YouTube's aggressive advertising, ad blockers are the reason why I have to take sponsorships, like the one that you saw at the beginning of this video. Because it's the only way to make ends meet anymore. But you're finding that with a lot of YouTubers, as well as running their own websites, which they just use YouTube to basically advertise for.
It's a good source of traffic,
for
sure.
Yeah, you establish your footprint on YouTube to direct the traffic elsewhere.
Exactly.
But the biggest, and we're not talking me here. I mean, I have a merch store, where I sell T-shirts and mugs and shit. I mean, I say I sell them, I don't. It was all set up by Sammy Hallam, the artist, Canadian artist who does all of the channel graphics and does stuff for you as well. He's designed everything, he runs it, and he basically sees 75% of the money from it, which is fine. You know, I'm just giving his permission to use my likeness. So, you know, he basically is the one that earns money from it, but nobody buys the stuff.
Yeah.
It's there, it's linked in the description of the video. I know the sales are bad, but the bigger YouTubers, rather than running merch stores like that, actually have their own businesses. Like Mr. Beast, I've heard of him. He's like millions of subscribers. He's got Beast Burgers. He sells his own burgers. People like Markiplier, you know, they've got their own clothing brands and stuff.
The smart ones that know how to invest the money.
They've actually set up businesses, and they're making more money from that than they were ever. I mean, you know, when you get millions of subscribers like that, you make a fair amount from YouTube as well. But they're now making more money from the outside businesses that they were able to set up thanks to the footprint that they had on YouTube. And YouTube is still, like, if you ask kids today, the top 4 things that they wanted to be. I mean, when I was growing up, everybody wanted to be a soldier, an astronaut, or a fireman. Yeah. And now it's all social media influencers. That's what everybody wants to be.
It's true. I've actually been approached many times by parents or by their kids with the parents asking me tips. And I just look at the parents.
Yeah. It is really, really hard. I was really lucky because when I started, it was easy to get your foot in the door. And then when things started going south, I already had a fairly big presence on YouTube that was able to sustain itself and grow. But the profit from YouTube itself has actually gone down. Yeah. I think in real terms I've taken a 60% pay cut, purely because the money from YouTube just isn't there, which is why you have to take sponsorships.
It's that uncertainty, you know, that change. Also the whole implications that it might take on a child coming up as well. You know, mentally, I don't think that's an appropriate thing to do. Even though there are childs out there on the internet making more than most adults,
making millions for their parents.
Yeah. But it's something that is definitely not well regulated either. Like there's no sick leave. It's normal. Things that you would expect from a job. Yeah, because YouTube doesn't admit that it's my employer. Yeah. Because then it would have to do, you know, it would have to sort out health insurance, and technically I'm a contractor that works, whose only client is YouTube. But YouTube can fire me, can shut my channel down whenever it wants. Yeah. Doesn't have to give any reasons. There's no job security here. And I mean, I'm 52 now, and I've just bought a house. I've got a mortgage to pay, and this whole thing could just, I mean, you look at all of, there are some massive YouTubers out there who were millions of subscribers back when YouTube was small, when I was starting, and they're not there anymore. Yeah. This whole thing can go away overnight. And the situation on YouTube is getting worse for creators rather than better, unless you're big enough to not have to rely on YouTube itself. Yeah. If you can leverage that subscriber base into getting decent sponsorships, like the Nord Pass sponsorship, like the Audible sponsorships that I do, that's the way ahead. Which unfortunately, and it's all because of YouTube themselves. The way, you know, the whole adpocalypse thing, which was basically because YouTube were running ads on inappropriate stuff without any kind of oversight or management on it, which caused the advertisers to like, whoa, seriously, you're putting our adverts on Al Qaeda videos? So the adpocalypse hit. This is all YouTube's own mismanagement. And then all of the aggressive advertising, which is forcing more and more people to use ad blockers. Again, if you do use an ad blocker, I honestly cannot blame you, because it's free and it works. But that directly impacts the revenue that I can make off YouTube. Thankfully, sponsorships are a thing. I mean, I try to keep them down to a minimum. I do 2 NordPass and 1 Audible ad a month. I don't have to make all the money in the world. I just have to be able to pay my mortgage and eat and look after the cats. And if I can do that, I'm content. Which is the reason why I don't run mid-roll ads, because I stopped watching YouTube channels that were constantly running ads every 3 or 4 minutes. And I wouldn't blame any of you if you did too, so I don't do it. Which is, driving down the amount of revenue that I can earn from YouTube in the first place. But I think maximising short-term gains, like, yesterday I did a board game video on the Sunday, and it was an hour long. With mid-roll ads, you would have probably had 20 adverts, 20 ad breaks in that video.
Yeah.
Nobody would have watched past the first 10 minutes if that had been the case. So you can go for the short term, get the maximum advertising revenue, but it'll kill your subscriber base. And I value that more than a short term cash injection.
Yep.
So that's basically why we are where we are. Again, if you're using an ad blocker, I absolutely don't blame you. It is the smart and sensible thing to do, but you have to understand that you're using ad blockers because of the way YouTube completely takes the piss out of the advertising on YouTube, means that I have to take sponsorships.
Yeah.
And let's not forget everybody who does support me on Patreon, thank you. And of course anybody who subscribes to me on Floatplane as well, where you can watch all the videos advert free for a subscription fee. So that is unfortunately the way it's going, and all these kids who think they want to grow up and be a YouTuber, they just don't understand how hard it is. I mean, good luck to them, but you're going to need it.
It's because it's what it's hip.
Yeah, all they see is the lavish lifestyles of like Markiplier and PewDiePie, and all
I would
this.
say PewDiePie is very much down to earth.
Yeah. I always looked down on PewDiePie until I actually watched PewDiePie.
Yeah, he's people who just skim. What's the word in English? Like skim the milk.
Skim, yeah. If you've never actually watched his stuff and all you've seen is articles about him,
he comes off as a screeching
idiot. Yeah.
But if you spend some time to actually listen to that guy,
he's actually pretty smart.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Anyway, I had a whole bunch of things to. Oh, what was it? Yes, Aliens games. Oh, actually, before we get onto that.
Yeah.
So we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. You'll obviously be watching this on the day it's released, probably Monday. Rita enjoying her apple gin and tonic.
Just 1 cup a day, they say.
Cups. Also, I'm testing out. I have no idea what the sound quality is going to be like. I've got primarily I thought I'd get them for doing the cooking videos to cut out all the background noise from the hissing frying pans and stuff. But we got these Lavalier microphones and we're testing them out. So we got 2 of them running off 2 transmitters into 1 receiver mounted on the camera over there. They will work or they won't, and if they don't, we've completely ruined this video. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this video on the day that it's published, that means tomorrow, Tuesday, Stray finally comes out on Steam. So this is a game that I'd been looking forward to for about a year now when I first saw it. It's been on my Steam wish list, and I was able to pre-purchase it about a month ago. And you'd forgotten about it, hadn't you?
Yeah.
And then I showed you the intro on Steam, on the Steam store page for it. And basically you play a cat, a little ginger pussycat who's lost in the big city.
Yeah.
A city full of robots, no people, and has to, well, I'm not sure what the cat has to do, but you get to play a kitty cat.
That's all that matters.
I mean, also, it's shaping up to be quite a good time to be a video gamer who's into Aliens games. Mm-hmm. Because you and I both play Aliens Fireteam Elite, which has kind of suffered for a lack of content. I mean, it didn't really have a lack of content. It released with 12 maps, but that takes you about a week to play through, and then all you can really do is go back in on high difficulty settings,
and keep going,
and trying to max out your weapons and so on and so on. But still, with only 12 maps in the rotation, well, next month, August the 30th, the Pathogen DLC comes out with another 3 maps and new weapons and new monsters and so on and so on. And then I learned about this one from Flambass. Aliens Dark Descent it's kind of like, there's very little actual gameplay. There's a pre-rendered teaser with just a couple of seconds of gameplay at the end of it. But it kind of looks like Diablo, with colonial marines and smart guns and waves of aliens running at you. So that's due out, I'm not sure when, might not even be this year, but I'm looking forward to that. And then I just caught the news that, and this is just called Aliens so far, working title. I can't remember the name of the studio, but did you ever play Terminator Resistance?
No.
Okay. I would have been very surprised if you had, because generally speaking, Terminator games are utterly terrible. But the studio that did Terminator Resistance, which came out of nowhere, didn't have a huge bunch of marketing behind it, and I thought, what the hell, I'll give it a go. And it actually turned out to be really, really good. That developer is doing an Aliens game, and it's an action horror game. First-person action horror. In the vein of Alien Isolation, but it's an action horror, and you play a Marine veteran, so you're going to have guns.
Good.
So imagine Alien Isolation, but you have guns. No idea when it's coming out. I'd be very surprised if it was this year. More likely it's going to be next year, 2023 sometime. But, oh yeah.
That's the thing that really off with me from Alien Isolation, was the fact that I could not fight back and I needed to keep on hiding. That to me
was realistic.
Worse. Yeah, but, it's more up,
But it's more terrifying.
Yeah.
Which is why I only lasted 2 hours into the game. You actually got further than me, didn't you?
I don't think so.
No, you did.
I'm still recovering. There was this one time when you told me to go to, I think it was a kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, and because I knew that the synthetic wasn't dead. There's a synthetic lying on the deck, and I knew, because I shit myself when it happened to me. So I knew this thing was going to grab your leg as soon as you walked past it. So she was going to walk right by it. I was like, Rita, is that something there next to the dead synthetic? So she went over to take a look, and it reached out and grabbed her. And first you screamed, and then you beat the shit out of me.
I'm still recovering from that one.
But yeah, I only made it as far, I think I put about 2 to 4 hours of gameplay in. I certainly had, I don't know, I forget how many videos, but I only made it to the medical section, which is where you actually start getting stalked by the alien. Right. Prior to that point, I mean, the alien might catch you, but it's only going to come out at certain scripted times. But once you get to medical, it's on. The game itself actually starts where the alien is stalking you constantly. And that's where I just couldn't do it. Because you have to remember that Alien came out in 1979.
Yeah.
I was 9 years old, so obviously I didn't see it at the cinema. I was in primary school. But my primary school teacher, Miss Thornton, went to see it. And we were supposed to be having an English class.
All right.
And we didn't learn any English that day. She'd been to see Alien the night before. A class of 9-year-olds, all she could talk about was Alien. So she scared the shit out of an entire class full of 9-year-olds. And then in 1982, when my family emigrated to South Africa, I was 12 years old. And the day before we flew, caught the plane from Newcastle down to London and then London to South Africa, Johannesburg. The day before we flew, Alien had its UK television premiere, and I was allowed to stay up and watch it. Boy, was that a mistake. 12 years old. I had nightmares for weeks. And then, of course, you put me into a first-person alien horror, survival horror game like Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
There was no way I was ever going to be able to complete that game. I mean, I don't mind Fire Team Elite because you've got a gun. But Alien Isolation is one of the best games I have never properly played.
I had that with clowns.
Oh, right.
I hate clowns.
That's why you never watched it.
I hate it. No, I hate it. Because...
That's a shame, because the remake of the TV show, the TV show with Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown, the remake with, was it Alexander Skarsgård?
The father?
Eric, the vampire from True Blood.
Oh, the son, one of the sons.
Yeah, his brother plays Pennywise the clown.
He's very good.
He is very, very good. And the two movies are both very, very good. Part 1 and 2, but you'll never watch it because it's a clown.
On my internet feed, it came to me the screen testing that they were doing with him.
Yeah.
And he's really, really good. Even without the whole clown makeup, he still comes across as very,
Actually,
it's his niche at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a bit of movie trivia here. Is it Alexander Skarsgård? I know his father is in the Thor movies, and
he was
anyway.
very successful. And it's nice to see his sons being successful too. Because they're both clearly very talented.
His first movie role, the son, was in Zoolander.
I remember
when Zoolander and all of the other male models are sharing a house together, and they go out for a mocha choca chaka frappuccino, and they're all in the slow motion spraying each other with petrol at the gas station.
Yes.
And then they all get blown up. That was him. He was one of the really, really, really good-looking male models. Yeah, that was him.
Really, really good looking.
Yeah. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really good looking? I wouldn't know. So, yeah. I'm sure we were going somewhere with that, but whatever.
I was just saying that my mom traumatized me.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first IT movie that came out?
IT movie? Oh,
the clown.
Oh, It movie.
It.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. What year was that?
It wasn't that long ago.
I remember being very young.
Well, yeah, that could have been 3 years ago then, Rita.
Wow. Wow.
You have to remember, right, I'd already fought a war before she was born.
True. True.
And I keep making these references. This actually a thought that occurred to me a couple of days ago, because I keep making references in my videos to movies like Aliens. Like, Marines, we are leaving, stuff like that. And that movie came out in 1986. It's nearly 40 years ago.
Yep.
So how many of you guys are actually catching the references to a lot of the things that because I'll make a Star Wars reference, which admittedly Star Wars is more pop culture than, like, you don't have to have seen Empire or Return of the Jedi to know who Yoda is. It's just things that are in the general pop culture. But some of the stuff, like I'll make references to Near Dark, I'll make references to Aliens, I'll make references to, all of these movies that were huge 30 and 40 years ago. Yeah. And I have no idea if any of you are actually catching the references.
I mean, in one way, is good education, I would say. On the other way, a lot of things get refurbished nowadays. Like, for example, the Stranger Things, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm mixing it up with Star Trek.
That's the point, actually.
With the whole
80s nostalgia thing there in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So maybe I can make an 80s reference and you won't get it because you remember the 80s.
Yeah.
But you'll get it because they made a reference to it on Stranger Things.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
And for example, that Kate Bush song that just...
Yeah, Running Up the Hill.
Running Up the Hill.
Yeah, that's everywhere lately all of a sudden.
Oh, God. I already did not like that music so much, that song so much, and now it just keeps being overplayed. That series has definitely woken up a generation to
the 80s.
To the 80s
yeah.
time. And there's a lot of people, how can I say, judging those kids for not knowing who Kate Bush or liking Kate Bush.
Well, that song came out 20 years before any of them were born.
Yeah. It's like, you cannot really judge people nowadays for liking older music when your musical tastes are based off Tony Hawk games.
Of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Because what I mean by that...
Eddie plays that.
Yeah.
Because when it comes around and I fire up the PlayStation 4 and you've got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remastered on there, and the soundtrack of those games is actually pretty good.
And what I mean by that, by the way, is... Sorry,
Yes, go on.
I don't want to come across as being nasty when I actually don't mean to be.
Says the woman who wanted to give a 12-year-old girl a pulse rifle.
Yeah. I am not a bad person.
She's just an African warlord.
I sometimes go into dissociative states and commit atrocities. But I'm not a bad person. But what I mean is, like, for example, I'm a 90s baby. I was definitely did not live through the 80s, but games like, for example, Grand Theft Auto Vice City and San Andreas, they woke me up a lot to that, the 80s, 70s music.
Well, yeah, you're a 90s baby. You didn't grow up through the 80s, but you're a 90s baby from Portugal.
Here we go. I knew we were going to go there.
And the 80s didn't arrive in Portugal until 2002.
To be honest, the 80s are not yet dead. Years ago, when we went to that concert of Phil Collins, the most excited person about those news that I was going was my childhood best friend.
Diogo.
Yeah, who's 4 years younger than me. And he was not my mom, not my grandparents or aunt, nothing like that. It was my 4 year younger.
Yeah, so he was born in 95.
Yeah.
And he was getting excited about Phil Collins. Oh, Portugal. The land that time forgot. Well, and on that bombshell, unless you could think of anything else to talk about, we might have to cut it here and have a talk about something else to discuss and then come back. But unless you can think of anything else to talk about.
I thought we were going to talk about the games. There was a few articles.
There were. And I've forgotten, and then we got lost talking about other stuff. So there was wow, a fly. That's the first fly I've had in this place in 3 months. Well, because I can't figure out how to open the windows.
I've been getting so many in my place too.
I hate flies with a passion. If I hear a fly buzzing around, I will not rest until I've found it and killed it. But you just don't get any in here, mostly because I've only just figured out how to open the windows, which I needed to do because it's so hot and sweaty in here. And it's gone. Right. But yes, I think I'll knock this one on the head and start cooking dinner. There it is. Now you get to see the fly in glorious 4K. There it goes. Yeah. Pasta, spicy sausages, tomato and lemon sauce. I think I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be all right. And probably not going to record this one because I just want to cook it and eat it. But there will be more stuff coming up on the Home with a Gnome channel soon as well. I've got my Binging with Babish book out. I'm going to pick something lavish because the last couple of videos that I've done on Home with a Gnome have all been simple, cheap, but tasty food, which I feel is appropriate for the current economic conditions.
Yes.
But every now and then I just want to cook something extravagant.
3 months ago, before I left the UK, I left a grocery order online that I never made. I came back, went back to the website because I need to do a lot of shopping and I'm not going to carry everything. Didn't want to.
Have it delivered.
Almost every single item, and these are basic goods.
Yeah, like
right?
lettuce,
like
tomatoes, bread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The amount of the
price increases.
The price increase is crazy.
Yeah, I picked the right time to move into my own place and start paying all of my own bills. The electricity bill, jeez. Yeah. And I barely ever have anything turned on, but yeah. So, subscribe to me on Patreon.
Oh my God.
Subscribe to me on Floatplane. Take advantage of the NordPass sponsorship and the Audible sponsorship whenever it comes up, because things ain't getting any cheaper. Yeah. But on that bombshell, I think it's good night from her.
And good night from you.
Good night.